this particular event which we are hosting inside IM as well as Career Launcher, right? So from outside IM, now you have come to inside IM. Hopefully, you will go into IMs and then like these students here. Uh, can I call you students? Huh? It's okay. MTs here. In our days, we used to call them management trainees. So these MTs here, they can actually, you can become one of them and tell younger ones about their experiences. This is actually about that part. What are the major takeaways for you just when you enter into your business school? What are the things which could be required, which you should be prepared? I know a lot of preparation has been done, but still, I think your chilling out time or chilling out zone would have got over. No? कुछ कर लो. अभी तो जाना नहीं IIMs. When you will go into IIMs? Somewhere, I think June last week. June last week. That's how the session starts. अरे बहुत टाइम है यार. What you will do? मतलब गर्लफ्रेंड बॉयफ्रेंड एवरीबडी विल गेट टायर्ड इफ यू नो. रील्स भी खत्म हो गए होंगे, नेटफ्लिक्स भी खत्म हो गया होगा, तो क्या करेगा, राइट? जो जॉब्स में है वो तो कर सकते हैं अपना जॉब्स, है ना, चलो कुछ दिन पैसे ही कमा लेते हैं. अदरवाइज बी प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर योर 2 years in IIMs. And 2 years in IIM is not I think a simple kind of a 11 to 12th or graduation kind of a journey. In that 2 years you will get so many other options to improve yourself or not improve yourself. The choice is up to you. One of the major thing is about doing internship, getting your pre-placement offers. Internship in a great company will always, most of the time, will convert into a summer internship will convert into a PPOs, right? And it makes sense. Don't bother so much about PPOs. Only thing you should be concerned about PPO if you're an IM, that they should give me a PPO. Whether I'll take that PPO or not take that PPO is whose choice? Not the person who's giving you PPO. It is your choice. But when a company like HUL's gives you a PPO, you better take it, right? There is no better marketing company, right? At least I can vouch for it from days of my time. It used to be day zero company. Still, it is a day zero company at all the IIMs. Yeah, Blackstone, everybody have displaced you or not? Still am. So ऐसे ही है day zero. कुछ नहीं होता day zero. मतलब the best reputed company where people are supposed to join is HUL, is of course at the top. Here, what is the scene? You are getting an opportunity right away. Before you move into your B schools, you're getting an opportunity that you can get inserted into a 3-day immersive kind of a program, which they call which is actually you will be watching how HUL works, various functions, sales, marketing, HR, supply chain, logistics, etc. work in a company which is more than 60,000 crore revenue, right? You have to be aware of the kitna tha ye. Sorry, my teacher is taking 9 months. Okay, it is 60,000 plus crore company, and it has the companies which you have heard in a different kind of names: Brook Bond India Limited, Lipton India Limited, Lakme, Pond's. Everything has come together into a Unilever umbrella. It is basically that kind of company. Lakme, if you know, it was a Tata company, then it is, I think it is 50-50, or would have been taken over currently fully. So this, even Tomco has been taken over by HUL. It's a great company, great organization. Currently, who is the chairman? Rohit Java. Okay. आजकल तो सब जगह वो रिजर्वेशन चल ही रहा है. नहीं, IIM में अभी इसको मैं बात कर रहा था, टॉकिंग टू हिम, ही वाज सेइंग 98.6 परसेंटाइल आया था एंड देयर वाज नो कॉल एटसेट्रा. हमने कहा ओ, शी वाज आल्सो देयर. मैंने कहा हाँ, ये होते तो शायद कॉल आ जाता ABCL से. नहीं, ओके ग्रेट. सो यू हैव अ फीमेल वुमन, राइट? द फर्स्ट. हाँ, ये तो आपको जोर से बोलना चाहिए यार. ओके, बाय द वे, आवर CEO इज आल्सो and from IIM Bangalore, right? So that's how the currently is, and it's a great company to be in. And listen from them, learn from them how you can become a PPIs. Yeah, pre-placement interns. Okay, that is the game, right? They will tell you entire about those things. Let me invite Disha to take care of the next part. Okay. Next.
Do I keep it? I think do
Yeah.
you need it?
Streaming.
Okay.
Currently, the world is hybrid. Stadium as well as TV.
The presentation needs to be up here.
So the presentation is up here, and if you want to write anything, it looks like this.
No. So there's a different presentation that I've sent.
That you have.
Yeah. Sir did open it. Yeah. Have it.
So you can operate on this.
Yeah, I can just do this. Yeah, that works. Perfect. Okay, hi everyone. So today's session I've named MBA Diaries Insider Sneak Peek because it's more about, this is very close to how my journey has been for the last 2 years. So a quick introduction about myself. I've recently graduated from MDI Gurgaon. By recently, I mean last week I just got convocated. So it's real quick for me to be from that side to this side. So it hits a little different. But yeah, during my MBA, I've interned with Accenture Strategy and Consulting, and I've also converted it into a PPO as we discussed about it. And we'll talk more about it as we move further. During my MBA, I've had the chance to be, represent myself at different stages. I was a part of Harvard H Pair. I was also part of HUL Changemakers, which we're going to talk more about. And I've represented McKinsey, etc. Now, before we talk about anything else, what do you think when you enter MBA? What does your first month in an MBA would look like? What do you think? Is it going to be, very, very tough, very easy peasy because you're going to meet friends? What do you think? What are your takes? Anything? Hectic, okay. Chaotic, perfect. I think that is what we've all heard about. So, first of all, the very first 30 days, you will hear a word named as induction. You'll be called in batches, you'll be made to sit at benches for time for entire day, and you'll be there understanding how that entire process of 2 years of MBA looks like. And you are ought to feel very overwhelmed at that point in time, okay? You especially at that point to make you feel that way, so you understand how you can grow from there onwards. So it's going to be everything. You'll have class discussions, you'll have your exams, you'll have your internships on the way, you'll be preparing for interviews, everything in one go, and you'll be at the circle of everything, so you know how you will face it. So be ready with the exact mindset. You should already know that for the next 3 months it'll be mental toll also, because you'll be away from your home right after everything. You've spent a lot of time at home and now you're in your MBA. So you'll feel that it'll feel different. So make sure you go in that mindset accordingly. Another thing that I want you all to understand is that the importance of your CV. As soon as you enter your MBA, you'll know that no matter how knowledgeable you are as a person, if your resume doesn't reflect it, it will not translate into opportunities for you. I think all of us will agree that how how the CV, that one page decides your future, at least in MBA. So make sure that you get ready for it already. And another point that I want to discuss is case competition. It's like a golden pass that you get in an MBA. Imagine that there are a lot of people who are going through the entire phase of MBA, but you've already secured your internship and you don't have to do anything in the first 3 months. So you already sorted that way. So we'll talk more about it in the further slides. And then finally, this is very personal to me because when you go, you'll see that all your friends are partying, having fun in the first 3 months. But I knew that my priority is begging a good internship. So no matter what other people are doing, make sure that you are not following into that FOMO and you're actually just taking that grasp. So these are the pretty much 30 days that will look like. And the game changer case competition, we're going to talk more about HUL per se today. But understand that, as mentioned, this is a batch of 600 people. Okay, just imagine, and you are one amongst those 100 who is getting placed in the very first month because you put your efforts into a case competition. Now, just because you did a case competition better in a better way, You've already secured an internship, and everywhere the people are running around, they're sitting in interviews, they're preparing their CV, they're preparing their interviews. But what do you have to do? Nothing, because you've already cleared that. HUL gives you that edge already. Before you enter into in MBA, you will have that internship in your hand. I don't know if there's something better that can happen to you in the first 3 months of your MBA. Similar opportunities, there are many opportunities. So make sure that you beg for that, you gun for that, and you actually get that. For these particular thing, when you enter MBA also, you have to build the right team, because your team matters a lot. Okay, because you'll have to create presentations, you'll have to do the research, you'll have to present your ideas. So the entire team, your articulation, everything matters a lot. So in case competition, do not hesitate. Do not think, oh, do I reach out to that person you've met recently? If you think that the person is great at particular work, reach out to them, clear that case competition, and eventually beg that internship for you. Now, again, we've already talked about how important your CV is. What do you think is the first step of any recruitment process? CV. You might think it is group discussion, you might think it is interviews, but no. Until and unless you get the shortlisting done, until and unless you have crossed that part that you've gotten the shortlisting, you cannot sit further in the process. And where do you get your shortlisting from? From the CV. So make sure that if you have these 3 months before you join the MBA, you can do anything you can in the field that you want to create your career in, maybe finance, strategy, human resource, whatever. But make sure that you do that in a way that your CV is up to the mark and you get shortlisted. So these are few things that you can maybe take a snapshot of or do whatever. Internships, live project, case competition, academic projects. This will make your CV, in a better way. And these are the categories you can fill things in. So in these 3 months, make sure you gun for that. You make your CV in a way that you already have an edge before you enter the MBA. And yeah, again, the three main skills, no matter how good you are at whatever you do, but if you cannot articulate it well, it won't translate. Communication, even in the batches that I have seen, if your communication is not at par, no matter how good your CV is, no matter how good you are in anything, but if you can't articulate it well, it won't translate. So make sure that in these 3 months you do whatever, but when it comes to speaking in the MBA itself, you'll be giving 100 to 200 presentations, and that's not optional. You don't get to choose if you can or if you cannot. So you'll have to be there and you'll have to do that. Okay, so make sure that you articulate it very well. I didn't have to prepare for this presentation a lot because I've done that for the last 2 years already. We have presentations next day in the morning and we're preparing it all nighter. We're doing an all nighter and preparing it. So I already know how to speak. You will be there, but make sure that even before you enter, you know how to speak, how to communicate in a better way. And business awareness, obviously. So you'll understand that when you study subjects, you don't do it in isolation. You should know and you should connect the dots accordingly. So your business awareness, reading newspaper as mentioned in interviews, all of it should be in the continual process. Just do it, make it as a hobby. And then basic tools, you all would have already heard. You can't do an internship without a presentation. Your internship converts into a PPO after, obviously, you do the work, but you have to create a presentation, show it to the senior manager how you've done your work, present your work, and basically sell yourself through a presentation. So your presentation skills, your speaking skills, your orientation, your articulation, all of it should be on point. So just learn that until you have these 3 months in your hand. And yes, so I have talked about all the good things, the serious things about MBA, but there is a lot more fun. Understand that, go with your priorities in the first 3 months. Make sure you enter with that mindset that you're going to have a lot of fun. After those 3 months, after you get that internship done, right? Once your internship is sorted, the next 2 years will be the best time of your life. I think all of us again will agree because we've been there. We've been at the campus. You'll understand how important those friendships are. You'll be living together. You'll be there throughout all nights, and then you also get to be go to an exchange program. I went to Europe and I was there for 3 months, and I didn't have anything to do because I've already had that internship. I converted it to a PPO, and then I was all free and I roamed around like 16 countries in 3 months, which I've never done in my entire life. I've not visited India this much, which I know about Europe now. So that opportunity, all of it, make sure that you do all of it, get that fun out of that MBA, live those 2 years to the utmost experience that you can, and then all of it happens after you do your 3 months, right? After you secure internships, do your case competitions, and we'll talk more about HUL particularly today. So thank you so much. Understand that this is going to be tough for the first 3 months, but this is the best kind of tough that you will, you know, experience. You will not regret joining it and not regret giving your 100%. I remember sleeping at 6 a.m. during my internship and then waking up at 8 a.m., 9 a.m. for my classes. So I remember those all-nighters as well, but then I don't think there's any loss that I've done to it. So all the very best. And now I invite the people from HUL. We have, I'll just open that so that I can introduce them well. Yes. So we have just talked about a lot about theory, but we'll not now talk about corporate case competition. We can change the presentation to HUL. Now let's talk about reality. Joining me today are three incredible individuals who were sitting exactly where you were not long too ago. They navigated the chaos of the first year. They've all been there, and they're now thriving in HUL's flagship leadership program. So please welcome Srishti, Akansha, and Abhishek. You want me to? We can pass this on.
You can just hear.
We can pass this on otherwise. Yes, so we have Srishti, Akanksha, and Abhishek with us.
Have to pan out, I think. Yeah. Okay, something comes.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. So, welcome all of you. Thank you for being here. And Srishti, will start with you. Yeah, let's start with your personal journey. Looking back at the person you were before B school compared to the UFLP you are today, what has been the most surprising part of the entire professional evolution that you've been through? What do you think?
So I'm going to start with a little introduction about myself and then we'll dive into it. Um, I think a lot of you are scared. Guys, don't be scared. It's fine. So before joining MBA, I was working at Reckitt as a payroll coordinator, so in HR only. And before that, I did my undergrad in maths honors. Then for MBA, I also did career launcher classes, the mock test and all. And yeah, and then I got into XLRI Jamshedpur. I opted for HR, MBA in HR. And yeah, that's been my journey so far. Yeah, so what was the question, Disha?
Yeah. So, what has been the most surprising part for you to entirely go through as a professional evolution?
Okay, so I'm not going to give you a lot of pointers. Honestly, I think there is just one big transition that I see in myself pre MBA, post MBA. Pre MBA, I was very afraid to make mistakes. I used to feel if I make mistakes, people are going to laugh at me and that's going to be it. And my life is over. After MBA and during MBA, I made so many mistakes that then I felt it's okay to make mistakes and that's how you learn. And you know what? Nobody knows a lot. Everybody only knows the few things that they have learned and that's it. Nobody knows about everything. So it's okay to make mistakes. And that is how I think I have gained a lot of confidence. And yeah, and that's one transition that I see in myself.
I think I'll agree because making mistakes has been a part of the last 2 years of my life as well. It's okay. I think So, moving forward, Akansha will talk about you. Did you always know that FMCG in particular was the ultimate goal for you? Or was there a specific, aha moment that you've been through and then you thought that, yeah, I'll want to work into FMCG?
All right. So I'll give a quick introduction again, and I'll simultaneously answer the question you had. So I'm from Jamshedpur, and I did my undergrad from Ferguson College in BA Economics in Pune. Post that, I worked for 2 years as a research analyst. It was a boutique consulting firm. Later on, I was very confused, by the way, in the third year of my college. Do I really want to do an MBA? I think one of my friends suggested, you know what, MBA is the path to success. And I was like, okay, let's consider. I did take CAT in 2020. That was the third year of my college, but didn't have clarity back then. Um, to be honest, I was like, okay, I have done economics. I think finance is the path for me. And such a the way things have turned around. Anyway, so then I took CAT again while I was working. And I had much more clarity by that time because I was already working. I knew there's a particular niche that I enjoy. FMCG at that time was not in my head. Okay, I wasn't sure this is where I want to go, but at least I had enough clarity that I do see marketing or consulting to be two paths for me. Eventually, I got my cat. I took my cat. I finally got a call from I am Bangalore, and just before that, I got lucky to get introduced to the foundation school, or at that time the Change Makers program. And I'm not kidding, but it is actually the aha moment for me. I think the HRs planned the program in such a way, the intention that they had worked out exactly the way for me. That was the time when I realized for the first time that marketing seems to be a very fun space for me. The 2 days that I spent during the Changemakers event just felt so second, almost felt like second nature to me. I felt like this is where I belong. These are the kind of people I want to be around in. This is the kind of culture that I want to have in my life, in my career, and all of that together made sense for me. And that is when I felt that, okay, this is where I belong. And that was the aha moment. And of course, HUL being in FMCG, and I think that is how it worked out. So,
Okay. Definitely. So I remember my experience at HUL Foundation School as well. So we were there for like 2 to 3 days, and every day we felt like it's like going from a small city and then being there, living there, shadowing, you literally shadowing the managers for the entire day, and that experience is going to be there throughout. That gives you so much confidence that you've shadowed the senior managers over there, that you've seen how they work, how the entire HUL works, and the entire, the way they've taken us through the program. That's going to be amazing. So uh, that is there. But now let's rewind a bit. For the students who are sitting here and the students who are who join online joined us, all of us them are going to join MBA soon. Abhishek, what do you think about your experience cracking that initial B school admission? We all think it's a huge hurdle, but then the first year chaos, as I talked about, it hits. What is that one piece of advice you would want to give someone who's joining their MBA, that they should follow so that they can manage their time and priorities well?
Hi everyone. I'm Abhishek, and I think the context setting here is happening in a way that we introduce ourselves first. So I'll just take a minute to introduce myself. I am again Abhishek, and I am an engineer. I did my BTech back in 2020 when I graduated from VIT Vellore in a mechanical with a minus in computer science, and post that I worked in TCS Digital. Uh, Definitely, a higher education was on cards, but I was pretty much not sure whether it should be on the technical lines or it should be in management. So I took my time off. It was COVID, so I did not have to worry a lot. I was doing work from home for the 3 years, and it had definitely been a nice way to figure out, talking to people, talking to my seniors, my bosses, my mentors, on what should exactly be the path. And I did. I gave my cat twice. The first attempt was not pretty good, and the second was also decent, but I did land up a few good colleges, and eventually, with some was very new. I did like the fact that they have a lot of visiting faculties. In our time, I think we had zero permanent faculties. Even today, there are just three permanent faculties, and all faculties are visiting. They come from all these top international colleges. There's a 14-day activity that happens. Your courses happen in 14 to 30 days. So I was pretty much amazed by the fact that this system of education also prevails in India after ISB. So I definitely chose this college. Got a ULIP opportunity, and then post that I moved, secured a PPI and a PPO, and I landed here. I definitely knew finance was not something I was very good at. My fundamentals were not very strong, and other than that, I was pretty much open to any domain as such. So when HUL landed, I was pretty much aggressively worked towards securing that PPI, and I got in. Now coming back to your question on when we go into B school and it hits everything, it starts hitting us, and there's how do you prioritize stuff and how do you schedule stuff. So basically when you go into MBA school, right, the first month is going to be the most chaotic in that entire 2 years. You'll have your seniors coming at you to make your CVs. Your deadlines will be like tomorrow, day after. You won't have a lot of time to prepare, so you should be pre-prepared, I would say, for that first month. Okay. Uh, a little bit scary, but I think it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it at the end of it. Uh, the the question about timing and priorities, right? So I did come across a post towards, I think, the end of my MBA, not in the beginning. I think, as far as I remember, it was by Ananya Birla on LinkedIn. Think you will still find it, and she says how she divides any task that she gets is to draw a 4 by 4, basically a X and Y on urgency and importance. So any work that is urgent and important needs to be done immediately. Anything that is not urgent, not important, just gets discarded. Anything that is urgent but not important needs to be delegated, and anything that is important but not urgent is scheduled, right? So I think that's like a mental model which, not in MBA, but now that I've started working, any task that comes to me, it just has to fit in one of those four quadrants. Okay, and most probably it is scheduling it, or it is just delegating it, or just rejecting it. Okay, so that is how it works. In your MBA, you will not have a lot of things to do. Everything is your own. uh, so what I would say is, schedule basis your priorities, right? If you have a CV and an assignment, know that a CV is going to decide how the next 2 years and the next 20 years are going to look like. That means if you have a deadline at 12 for a CV submission and an assignment submission, your CV takes priority over your assignment. Take it, because that assignment you can bounce back in the next assignment and finish your course on a high also. So that is how I would like to exemplify and give you the way on how to prioritize and schedule stuff, basically. Thank you.
So that's it, Abhishek. Okay. So moving forward, we'll talk more about case competitions. We all know case competitions are a massive part of the B school life, and they're crucial for being noticed by brands like HUL. Srishti, Akansha, can you break down your strategy? How did you approach forming a team, and what is the secret sauce to actually win that case competition and not just be a participant anymore?
All right. So I think many people, okay, participate in case comps, but everybody has a very different approach. First of all, there is a set of people who just do it for the sake of it, not really invested in it. So that's one set. Sometimes I was in this set as well, because I also knew that I don't want to take part in every single case competition that's out there. And also for me, it was different because I already had an offer from HUL. I knew that the intensity was not as important for me versus, let's say, somebody else at that time. Then a second set of people, they are very rigorous in their work. They are very rigorous about the case comp that they're taking part in, because they know that they want something at the end from this. So, and then of course in the middle you'll have people who will prioritize basis the company, basis the case competition, or the domain itself, right? So somebody who's clearly into finance will definitely prioritize certain case competitions from companies like that. Or consulting mein ho gaya, you'll have your BCG case comp coming up, and I think finance mein, insurance and all, you'll see Bajaj case comp, like the Atom case comp will come up. So there are a lot of case competitions in marketing as well. Line being one of the biggest case competitions out there. Then you'll have Asian Paints, Mondelez, etc. So you prioritize as per your interest and the domain that you want to be in, the company that you want to join later on. For me personally, I took part in 2 or 3 very small case competitions, which I won as well, but they weren't very high stake, so I don't want to talk much about it. It was just there on Unstop. I was free and I wanted to spend time doing something, and kind of challenge myself, and I ended up doing it, and I got I think a second or or a first runner up in one or two of them. The one case comp where I did put in effort was the Bajaj Atom case comp. You asked me another thing, which is how do you form your group? It is very important to find the right set of people. Like I said, if I know I want to clear a particular case comp, I need people who also want to clear that case comp. Otherwise, it's not going to work. In the Bajaj case comp, so the people that I had chosen were clear that they do want to clear it for their own reasons, whatever it is, right? So if you guys are aligned on it, then only you'll see them put in the effort. Otherwise, one person is working or two people are working and others are not doing anything, right? So you don't want that attitude, at least in a case competition group. So ensure that you're picking the right set of people. As long as you're aligned, I think it'll work. And strategies. I think what sets you apart in your case comp journey is the genuine amount of effort that you put in. Because, like I said, many people just participate in it, make a PPT, move on, but you actually need to do the work. You actually need to speak to people who will help you out in solving the particular case problem that has been given to you. If you don't do that, you can generate a PPT from AI and then still submit it, but that does not take you far. So, case comp, the edge comes from the additional effort that you put in.
I think Akansha covered most of it. She said the do's. I'll tell you the don'ts of it. So in B school, we tend to stick to a group, right? Because the environment is very competitive and you feel I can't get off my comfort zone. I have three people. Might as well just do all the case comps with these three people. इनको मनाना भी नहीं पड़ेगा, जल्दी मान जाएंगे. But it's important to look at the case comp, look at the company, see what kind of knowledge do you really need in this. It could be a finance case comp, but has an HR edge. Okay, so then you need somebody who has an HR experience, or somebody who's studying, has a specialization in HR. So look at the skill set that you will be needing, instead of just looking at कि मेरे दोस्त है तो मैं अपने दोस्तों के साथ कर लेता हूँ, which is the easy way out. But if you really want to crack it, don't stick to your friends. Some of your friends might also feel कि मेरे साथ क्यों नहीं करना चाहते हो तुम, but you know what, you have to then prioritize कि दोस्त ज़्यादा important है या फिर case com ज़्यादा important है. Also, there are types of case comps. There are some case comps where you will get a CV point, तो सारे case comps crack करके मिलेगा, right? So that's always going to be the thing. Then there are case comps who give you a pre-placement internship, which then you can convert to a pre-placement opportunity, like a full-time job. And then there are case com who give you hefty money in awards. Okay, so then also, if you want, so there are, I know case coms would also give you 5 lakh or something if you win. So like, it's a crazy thing. So you need to have a good team if you want to crack it. So always approach it objectively rather than कि दोस्तों के साथ करना है, fun करना है. That's my take on it. Do you want to add on?
Okay, thank you so much, Srishti and Akansha, for the answer. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. We're going to talk about the HUL pipeline. Everyone here wants to know how to get from foundation school to ULIP and ultimately to UFLP, where you've all been there. Let's demystify that pipeline. So, Srishti, let's start with the foundation school first of all. How did the initial exposure set the stage for your summer internship, the 3 days that you've been there? What did it teach you particularly about Unilever's culture before you even walked through the door as an intern? So, how was your experience as a foundation school?
So this was back in 2023, and I had no clue that these things exist. And by luck, one of my friend told me that you know what, HUL does this case competition, I should really apply. और मैंने सोचा कि मेरा तो कैसे होगा भाई, मैं इतनी smart हुई नहीं, ठीक है? तो then I was like, okay, fine, for the sake of applying, I'll apply. And I did, and I had no clue what the 2 day will hold for me, but it was actually the game changer. And I'm not going to sell HUL to you. I will tell you what I actually felt. So when I stepped into it, pehli baat to office is crazy. So when you look at the office, you're like, what is this new world I have stepped into? And then there are people who are experts in their job, who really know their job to the very core of it. And then they come and they really open the window of what they have been doing in the company, what the company wants to do, what is the strategy. So I personally really felt like I am already a part of HUL. That's the intent with which they actually take those sessions, and they were extremely insightful, and they just they just ignited some spark in me where I felt like, you know what, this is the kind of company I want to work in, where people are given the opportunities to take their own way, and nobody's going to tell me how you're going to do this thing, but they're just going to tell me, take your own way and just do this. We just care about the result. Do whatever you feel like is important. And I think I'm digressing a bit, but yeah. So that was a game changer for me, and the flow of it is that there are leaders who come, they take your session, and then you shadow those senior leaders, and you actually look in their life in office of what they do, in what is their 9 to 5 like, and yeah. After that, I just really felt like this is the place for me.
I hope all of you now understand the importance of being there and how it will make you feel as an intern as a student who's not even entered corporate or MBA life cycle yet. So, yeah.
It's not about cracking the internship. It's really about that experience where
Yeah.
you get to sit in that room and you get to witness what is the kind of work that people are doing and what is the kind of work which makes HUL the company that it is. So that's your end goal shouldn't be that, what, I want that internship. Your end goal should be, I want to sit in that room and I want to experience that. That's it.
And obviously that gives you an edge from the people that who are going to be in your batch, though those people were not there. You already have that CV pointer, obviously, and you have that experience, so that's going to give you an edge. Abhishek, bring us to the present now. You've successfully transitioned from a ULIP intern to a full-time UFLP. How does the responsibility shifted for you personally? What does, we've seen reels a day in HUL. So what does a day in the life looks like for you now? And how does HUL as a company continue to support your leadership guidance?
So maybe just to start with a little bit of more context setting, you have your foundation school programs where you get an opportunity to spend 3 days, and post that you get an internship opportunity as well, right? So then there's the ULIP, which again has various pipelines to enter into either the foundation school or the case comms or the direct internship programs, right? And once you do your 2 month ULIP internship, which wherein you get a project, you either work with a brand or a team or a category, and there's the PPO opportunity that you get. Once you get that and secure that is when you post your MBA, you come to your UFLP, the Unilever Future Leadership Program, right? It's a 1 year long program, 52 weeks, designed perfectly, saying you'll have a sales stint at the beginning, and it's different for different domains. It can be different for sales and marketing, for HR, it can be different stints. For a supply chain, it can be different stints, but the stints are very structurally arranged. Like which team you'll be working with, who will be your mentor, who will be your coach, everything is very structured. And that's one most like a beautiful point about HL is for everything they have a very structured roadmap and they stick on to the timelines. At any cost, you have to stick on to the timelines, right? That is the level of commitment and that the team gives. So when you come to a UFLP program, you spend 52 weeks, which we were a part of last 2025 June when we joined. And you do your sales stint, you do your brand stints, customer strategy planning, then there's rural stints and modern trade stints. And once you are through with that is when you get your first roles handed out to you. So they want you to know everything of the company that the company does in your particular domain before they hand you out a role. So what happens when you get stints is you get projects with teams, right? And there's not a lot of accountability. Your accountability is that you should be knowing in and out of your project. You should be very well averse with everything that is going to come and be thrown at you. And you should be able to deliver on what your mentor expects out of you from that project. But as soon as you get your role, the shift entirely happens because now you have a team that reports to you. You have to report to your line managers. There's a revenue that is given to you. There are numbers that are attached beside your name, right? That you have to chase and execute and perform and deliver. And you, of course, have the opportunity to innovate and experiment. That is where your profile comes into play, right? And when she asked, like, what has changed? Like, I remember my first sales stint when I did back in June 2025. Again, I'm saying my first interaction with my mentor on breakfast was where he said, ki, यार अभिषेक ये सेल्स वेल्स तो तुम लोग निकाल लोगे. In a company like HUL, everything is very structured. The company does not depend exactly on people to drive its sales. The structure is so that sales will come through. Where you come in is with your innovations and things that you bring onto the table. So basic numbers to drive होते हैं. People are motivated, the team is motivated, the stakeholders know what their job is, KPIs are assigned to everyone, so everything happens. But your work in this next 3 months in your sales stint will never be about sales, but will be about people management. The better you learn it, the better leader you will become, is what he had said me on day one. And now when I'm into my role, half of my day, not even half, 70% of my day goes in just stakeholder meetings. It can be my team, it can be my distributors, it can be a problem with my salesman. A simple thing like, सर ये सेल्समैन यहाँ पे ये प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है, या ये डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर यहाँ सामान नहीं दे रहा है. All such complaints, right? And there are genuine real complaints because someone is putting in money, there's money involved in every transaction that happens. So you cannot say things without thinking it through, without thinking it 5 years ahead, without thinking what used to happen 5 years back, right? So all these things do come into play, and there are your KPIs and stuff handling. So that exact shift has what happened in that, like, the last 2 months when we have started assuming our roles. uh, Day in the life, again, you get up in the morning, see your allocations, talk to your team early in the morning, even before the MEs, your marketing executives, start hitting the market, right? The strategy should be set before they start their markets at 9 in the morning. And then they do it, you continue with your own work, and by 5 again you have a gate meeting where at the RS point your Ks will have it and your team will have it, and then you decide on how to move next, right, for the next day. So it's a day on day basis that you keep on working. Thank you.
Very interesting, right?
I think in the last 1 hour, Abhishek already has gotten a few calls, which he has missed.
Okay, so now before we open the floor to our audience in the YouTube live stream, I want to ask a quick rapid fire question to all of you. What is the single trait, most important trait you think that HUL looks for in a future leader? So, open to all three of you.
Okay.
I'm gonna go first. Yes. One most important trait is what's unique to you, and you stick to it.
All right. Okay, I have two thoughts. I know it's a rapid fire. I'm gonna take a few seconds. Okay. One is so one thing is I feel it's HUL does not, or any company for that matter, does not look for, let's say, a particular kind of person. It's a set of people who together make the company. You need somebody who shows the carrot, somebody who shows the stick. Ultimately, it's a bunch of people, different kinds of leaders who make the company what it is. Personally, what I've noticed that in my experience, the one thing which HUL definitely looks for is ownership. You are responsible for whatever you are, whatever role you're assigned, whatever task you're assigned with. So you take that accountability and show up no matter what. Even if something is difficult, if you can't figure it out, it is your job or your responsibility to figure it out. There are always people to help you out. That is another thing which is very common in HUL, very HUL behavior,
Yeah.
I would say.
Extended campus.
Uh, I think it's the passion and commitment to whatever you're doing, right? It can be sales, it can be anything that you're good at. But how passionate you are about that, and how committed to that particular thing that you are dedicating your time to. I think that's what I believe. According to me, that's what the company looks for, definitely.
Amazing, amazing insights. Thank you, everyone. So now, let's understand if you have any questions. If you have any question about CV building, your internship, your HUL change makers, and your life in MBA, it's your chance. Any questions?
It's okay, guys.
Yeah. Sure.
So we talk about case company, and we all know that you register them on a platform like Gunstock and something like that. So do we get any help from the placement cell or our seniors in knowing more about the competition before entering into it? And what is the team composition as well? Can we only have freshers, those who are in our batch, or we can have a few seniors as well to guide us through the case competition?
Is this specific to foundation school or in general you're asking? In general.
Whatever your knowledge allows.
Okay, so specific to foundation school is that I don't think you need a group there. वहाँ पे तो it's you just have to register yourself. Okay. Otherwise, in other case comms, guys, add on to. Um, in other case comms, every case com will have their set of criterias. अगर workex वाले लोग चाहिए तो उधर लिख देंगे कि minimum 12 months of workex. नहीं चाहिए तो like there will be no criteria at all. That's one thing. About seniors helping you, that is really the kind of culture that goes on in college. I can talk about Accelerate myself, where the support that you get from your seniors, from your faculties, that is immense. Or matlab, so okay, so there are two parts, that there are seniors that you just approach, then there are seniors which are your committee seniors. So if you get into a committee, तो आपके committee seniors भी होंगे और वो actually आपकी family बन जाता है, and then they're like helping you at every step of the B school journey. Case comp हो या आपका कोई subject का quiz हो या semester exam हो, कुछ भी हो, you can just rely on them and they'll help you through and through. They also give you past material कि past में ये हुआ था. तो I feel like, and I think that's true for every B school, कि बहुत आपको सारा help material और support मिलेगा. You don't have to worry about that.
I think you just have to reach out, to be honest, and the bonds that you build, that'll help. And another thing is, yes, I mean, Unstop is one platform. Similarly, your Placecom also will inform you regarding any case comms that are coming up. And yeah, like she mentioned, eligibility criteria will be very clearly specified, so you won't have any issues there.
Do we have any questions here?
Typical engineering background.
That's not great that all about the sales and marketing and all these.
That's a typical maths honest background also.
Perfect. So, graduated in 2025 and I got to know about sales and marketing and all these different domains when I started my GDPI prep in January. So I wanted to ask you, in the 2 days of foundation school program that you have, do they teach you and do they teach you enough that you realize, you know what, I want to stick up to that particular specialization for the 2 years of my MBA and do that for my entirety of career. Do they help you regarding that or not? You still have some change.
Got it. Okay, so the 2 days at HUL, right, for the foundation school, I think it is very immense and very rich information that you get from some very senior leaders, 15, 20 years into HUL, beyond HUL. When they come and tell you, okay, this is how my experience has been, this is how HUL operates, these are the kind of things that we do here, this is how marketing looks like, that itself opens a world of opportunities in front of you. That is what happened for me. We had sessions on consumer work, we had marketing, sales, even finance and distribution, etc. Individual people, experts in those fields, took us through their journeys and how the function looks like at HUL. That is the biggest learning you'll get. Secondly, they also help you understand how your day would look like if you actually were doing that role, right? For example, there's one of the most important things at HUL is understanding the consumer and also core of marketing. So we did consumer work during those 2 days as well. So like a moderator who they took us to consumers' actual homes, and we were sitting and having a conversation with them, understanding their perspective on let's say a category or them in general. So that also shows you a picture. Okay, this is the kind of work you will be doing day to day. The third thing which happened during our time was we attended a board meeting with some 20 years of experience, people with 20 years of experience. They were sitting there, and I remember the team which I was a part of, I think it was the Surf Excel team, and they were discussing laundry, like people from Unilever, like the UK. So from there, people had the international team was also a part of that board meeting. And imagine you're some 40, 50-year-olds are discussing such important work, and you're just sitting there and observing in this corner of a room. So that also gives a very different perspective. So all of these experience in those 2 days helped me really understand, okay, this is how my world could look like eventually. Now, how do I build on it? When I joined IMB, in the first month, naturally, I was inclined more towards marketing courses, and my grades also reflected that. So slowly and steadily, it became more clear to me that, yeah, I know marketing is where I have to be. Yes, consulting was something in my consideration. So to your question that, okay, do you also look at other things? Yes, I did. But eventually I knew this is where I'll end up.
All right. I hope you've gotten your answer. Do we have any questions here? Should we move? Yeah.
I have MBA background and I have the conceptual knowledge about marketing as now I'm confused. What should I basically? How should I invest these remaining months before joining the B school?
Have a lot of fun. Yeah. Important before you prep yourself for the rigor that is there in B school. Or dusra, that's it. That you just want to know how you want to spend the next month, and you're clear you want to do marketing.
Yeah.
Then just have fun, chill.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, you won't get enough free time.
You're done with the interviews, B school, all it is.
So actually, you actually should not stress a lot. And if you really, really want to do something, you have to so dekna and then maybe I don't know, read up about your own campus, about certain companies, about certain functions. Thoda wo dekho, speak to people in your own batch. I think your groups will be formed eventually just before your campus life begins. So एक महीने पहले एक group बनना start हो जाता है. To speak to people, network.
Yeah.
So,
But you really don't need to do anything. You
this is
should
the
be
last time you'll have enough data. I'm being very honest.
So just
Relax.
what's your take on it?
No, I think I think maybe start building your CV. Maybe just a little bit, just to know if you have enough content for the layout. If there are gaps that you see right now and you have time, thoda start filling it up. Because when you go into a college, you get overwhelmed by all your overachiever friends also, right? So that does not hit you the moment you go in. So just be prepared of what is going to hit you. And as she said, like have fun, because this 1.5 months of free time you won't be getting for the next 2 years. That's for sure. And beyond. Yeah, and beyond. Yeah.
Thank you everyone for the questions. We have a few questions from the online, but I've been told that we'll keep the answers short. So, what is the criteria to get in the HUL Foundation School program, and by when can we expect the results? So, the deadline thing, I can mention that the results will be around mid-April, and the deadline for the application round is 15th April. So, I think today is 10th. No, no, results around mid-April is what I've been told. Yeah, it should be mid-May, even I think so. But yeah, so the deadline for application round is 15th April, so the results should be around mid-May, definitely. Okay. So what is the criteria to get in the HL Foundation School?
There's no criteria as such. The criteria is that you should have a call from B schools. That's it, and you should have given CAT and ZAT or something like that. But that's really about it. No other criteria as such.
I think there's some CAT score limit that you should have. I'm not sure.
But that also then goes to the kind of calls you've gotten,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So yeah. But there are more information available on Inside IM page.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, even I am just wondering, we're just passing it. Okay. So another question, how do we make our way to HUL if we are going to pursue an MBA from a tier 2 MBA college? Like B school case competition.
Yeah. So multiple avenues, right? Like you have to land that internship, and to land that internship, foundation school is one way. Uh, Case comps, Lime, and finance ke liye finesse, I think finesse. So you have supply chain ke liye also there's one case comp. So every domain has its own case comp. Form your teams, participate well, make your plans well, and that is one way to enter. And of course the direct way, but not for every college. But yeah, case comps and foundation school are the two ways where you can get through to that internship.
Patient school would be the easiest way. It definitely gives you an edge.
So there's another similar question which I think we've already taken. Is there any UG background criteria? Because I'm from BSc Agriculture. Would that affect in any ways? So I think no.
We don't have it.
Very short answers now. Okay. I have this is a does HUL Foundation School only consider tier 1 MBA converts or higher CAT percentilers or 999 academics for initial shortlisting stage?
Not necessarily. I don't think so. Campuses में भी ऐसा कोई limit ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, but of course your overall profile etc is considered, but nothing specific like okay this much you should have. This is the exact campus you'll hire from.
So there's another question, which is what was the gamified assessment for HUL Foundation School like? Is it hard? I also heard a yeah here. So I think gamified assessment is something. And how can we prepare for it beforehand?
So, guys, it wasn't there in our year.
Yeah.
We're not, we can't touch
I'll
it.
tell you what we had. So one, we had a video interview round, which is the first step for the shortlist for foundation school. Then on those 2 3 days of the event, we had one test at the end of the day. It was I wouldn't call it gamified. We had questions, some questions which like your typical quant questions, something around market share, and one again video round there. Basically, there was a question to which you had to record and answer. So stuff like that, but nothing gamified as such.
But then one thing that I would want to add on is that there are on YouTube there are certain websites which tells you which videos which tells you about how to prepare for a gamified assessment. For different companies there are gamified assessments, so you can just practice because it's going to be similar at the end of the day. And do we have any other question? I'll just check the chat. When it's more about HUL Foundation Schools CAT criteria, I think that's already we've taken. How do you find out people who you should collaborate with for case competitions? Like there will be bunch of networking. How do you filter out people who you should collaborate with?
Filter out how I. Okay, so it's really, you'll get to know when you talk to people, you'll know which person has what kind of experience, what kind of aptitude, what kind of communication skills, and then you'll be able to filter out, right? It's really the basic. Talk to people, talk to as many people as you can, get to know them, make a mental list of ye iske liye, wo uske liye. ठीक है.
You can keep the mic there. So just one more question. So, how important is work experience? Like, if I like this is a person asking that if I have zero work experience, how do I need to keep my CV to be even considered? So there's a perception that freshers ka CV is no CV. So we'll have to break that myth here.
So that person
Doesn't have work experience.
But I don't think so. So a lot of my friends who are also in the final rounds of interviews did not were freshers, right? And I think freshers do prepare their CVs very beautifully. They have a lot of things that they do in their college. So see, as recruiters, they also know that you are a fresher, but they have shortlisted you because they have seen that in the time that you had in your college, what exactly did you do? Everyone has passed through the similar stages, so everyone knows that if you are a fresher, you will not have any kind of technical background experience where you would have made some impact. So in the time frame that you had, in the environment that you had, what contribution and what impact you did? I think that will be the benchmark that you'll be judged on. So should not be a problem at all. And in companies like HUL, definitely nothing to be worried about. Yeah.
And if you want to, if you're confused of how will I fill my CV, I think Abhishek mentioned few minutes back, just start writing your CV points on a Word doc and you will see if I have about 50 pointers to put in a CV. And if they're not 50, go back to your school, go back to ninth and 10th, see what you did. For example, I was captain of some house. So that was also a point I had to put in my CV. And that's a good point. It's a leadership point, it's a position of responsibility point. That's one thing. Another things you can do is there are a lot of icebreakers which happen when you just enter college. There's also a thing that college does for you is that give you a lot of chances to have those CV points, right? So participate in any sort of competition, be it academic or be it extracurricular, participate in those and you'll get CV points from that also. So that's one thing you can start doing is just write points on a Word doc.
Right. And eventually you can also, you will have clubs and committees that you'll be a part of, PORs that you will get because of those reasons as well. So that will help you build your CV.
Yeah.
And mostly freshers tend to do that. So that
Most of the questions were on CV and case competition. Another one similar. How should someone prepare themselves for a case competition purely from a non-managerial or purely technical background? Abhishek, I think you would because it's a technical background.
Here, I think every case comp, right, has a very generic problem statement most of the times. And even if there's a technicality involved, there's not a lot of numbers and a lot of number crunching that you have to do unless it's a finance based competition, right? And then if it's a finance based competition, of course, either you should have a background or you should look for people to make a team who have such background who can help you with that kind of core competency. But otherwise, case competitions always have a very generic statement. And then once you're in MBA, right, you'll always hear this term called first principles, and that is what case comps also want to see about when they give you a problem statement. How deeper are you able to go to find the hows and the whys of the problem statement and give them an answer? Those companies know the answers better than you will tell them ever, right? So they just want you to understand whether you are able to get the problem statement exactly how they want you to, right? And then the solution they know better than you to implement it, right? So I think that really answers. Yeah.
You guys want to add on, Srishti, Akansha? Okay. So final question for today, guys. It's about certifications. So somebody is saying that that person is clear, like this person that person wants to do marketing. Will doing marketing courses before entering B school or for the ULIP be helpful in this free time? So let's just answer this question more from the certifications perspective for any sector.
Okay. So I think in general, so if you're already joining a B school, then yes, you can do these certifications, these courses. They will help you, but actively spend time to understand what they're telling you. Like Coursera and edX, they have some great courses out there. But more often than not, people just do it to get a certification at the end of the day. So that certificate is not going to help you, but what you actually learn from it will help. And if you're joining a B school, you want to pick certain courses just to understand how it's going to be, how those functions are going to look like, absolutely you should do it. I personally did something on finance, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. Again, I prioritized learning what they were teaching me than caring about the certificate at that point.
Yeah, the certificate in itself is not of much use.
Like I know one of my friend used to do it, so I'll just let it out here so that if in case it helps. And she was a fresher. So what she used to do is enroll in a course but do a project and get it attested by some professor right at the end of the day, so that it can be put into a pointer. But the important part here is she used to do a project, so that she does not put the certificate as such, but the project details, so that she can always talk more about how she went about the project, how was the thinking process, what was the result of it.
But it's
Uh,
not up to kya hota?
yeah.
So later on,
Just
Yeah.
and also live projects also you can add, by the way. This is for the
Yeah,
previous
that's
question. Like fresher season.
All right, so I think we're done with the session. We've covered most questions. For the HUL Foundation School, again, we have the applications open on Inside IIM website, and please keep checking other competitions on Inside IIM and Inside Campus. More MBA competitions are going to go live. So become the part of it and already clear those 3 months hassle away from you in these 3 months that you have. So all the very best, and thank you to all three of you for being here and for all the insightful answers. Thank you.